previous. Sorry. So, continuing, regular health camps may be arranged where animal or livestock is a component in FSN, farming system for nutrition, particularly for landless farm families, poultry farming, backyard poultry farming, and small ruminants like sheep and goat. And in case of fishery, community-based fish farming or some space is available with the homestead, then in small scale fisheries also can be taken off. So cow and fish integration. So a healthy cow excretes over around 5,000 kg dung in a year and around 4,000 liter urine. So a unit of 5-6 cows can provide adequate manure for 1 hectare of pond. So the artificial feeding to the fish component in a farming system may be compensated with these manures produced from the 5-6 cows integrated in the system. So besides the green, each milk cow requires about 20 kg of green fodder. So in a year, around 7,000 kg green fodder is required for a milk cow or buffalo, and it in the cow shed, this about 20% of this green fodder is not consumed by the cows, and it can directly be released to the pond, fish pond, where the grass carp and the some other species of the fish species can consume these green fodders meant for the animals, and the requirement of fish feed may be reduced to a larger substantially. And from 1 hectare of area, we can get 4,000 kg fish along with if integrated 5 to 6 cows, so 9,000 liter milk per year per hectare. Similarly, the same concept is also applicable to pig and fish farming. Here, 30 to 40 pigs are sufficient to fertilize a fish pond of 1 hectare area. The fish like grass carp, silver carp, and common carp are very much suitable for integration with the pigs. They consume the pig droppings, which about 70% of the digestible feed comes from the pig dung. So 40 pigs produce 1 ton of ammonium sulfate in a year. So that can be exploited if fish and pig integration is there in FSN. Similarly, with chicken and fish farming, the birds droppings are very rich in nutrients, 3% nitrogen, 2% phosphorus, and 2% potash. So they from the litter from the poultry houses can be released to the fish pond, and uh, around 500 to 600 birds are enough to fertilize 1 hectare of water body for fish production. So additional fish feed may not be required. So cost of production is very much reduced. So we can get fish, egg, and meat from this system. Then duck and fish farming. So contrary to the usual belief that chicken is more profitable than duck integrating to the system of an integrated farming system, but practically duck and fish farming is more remunerative. So it benefits in three ways. First one is we can get the usual profit like meat, egg, fish. Besides, once the dogs are there in the pond, so they swim in the water body, so no need of artificial aeration. So for artificial aeration, one is to take or consume energy. So here, if duck farming is integrated to fishery, so no need of this artificial aeration. Oxygen is available to the fish. So the ducks also feed on the aquatic weeds, then juveniles of frogs, toads, then harmful insects. So it keeps the water clean. And the droppings of the ducks, they increase the phytoplankton, which can synthesize their, or through photosynthesis, they can produce their, these are microscopic organisms, plant-like organisms, so which can uh, produce their food on their own. So that will be utilized as a feed for the fish. So similarly, zooplankton is also produced from the droppings of the birds. So no artificial feeding to the fishes may be required. Only limitation is there. Uh, at least 10 centimeter length size of the fingerlings should be released to the pond. Otherwise, the dogs can feed on these small sized fingerlings. So per hectare, it depends upon the fish culture. Uh, 100 to 300,000 ducks can be integrated per 1 hectare of water body. Small ruminants, that is sheep and goat, for landless farm families or marginal and small farmers, is very much beneficial and remunerative rather than the dairy. So instead of dairy, these small ruminants may be encouraged for this category of households. So it both way they benefit meat crops. So in agricultural lands, there are weeds or unwanted plants that can be consumed by these sheep and goat. And on the boundary of the household or the crop boundary fields, there is shrub or bush type plants which produce the edible or uh, fodder tops, tree fodder tops like Glarissidia can be planted, and throughout the year this green fodder can be provided to this sheep and goat. Then rice duck system crop and duck system. So where there is lowland rice or deep water rice, these varieties take about 5 to 6 months. So in that case, ducks can be integrated to this system, and these ducks droppings, they manure. So organic rice can be produced from this system. Besides eggs and meat also from dog component we can get. And the dogs, they feed on the harmful insects in the rice field. They feed on the aquatic weeds. So they keep the field clean. So this rice stock technology is very much in eastern part of the India, and where the deep water rice is a practice. So it benefits in many ways. And it also solves the nutritional aspect security for the poor farm families. Livestock, fish and crop system. So in this here, this fish and crop system, we can also introduce livestock. So from the manures or dungs that can be used as the fish feed, and on the diets, the crops can be at the life-saving irrigation can be provided from the pond, and crops can be taken on the diets. So it is also a common practice in many areas of the Eastern India and somewhere else, and we can also promote this practice. So land requirement is less, and it suits very well to FSN farming system, nutritional garden or models. In fish crop system, in ponds where fishery is a component, on the pond dikes the seasonal vegetables throughout the year can be grown. Besides the short duration fruit crops like banana, papaya, and bush type fruit crops like pomegranate, lemon, these also can be grown. Besides the plantation crop of coconut also can be planted on the pond dikes, and life-saving irrigation during dry seasons can also be provided from the pond. Before yes. Hanging gardens from the inner side of the ponds on the dikes inner side. So 10 to 12 number of bamboo platforms of 4 meter by 3.5 meter size can be erected, and the creeper vegetables like bottle gourd, asgood, country beans, cowpea, etc., can be allowed to grow on these bamboo platforms. So without any land, well-defined land, we can also get some vegetables. So from each platform in a season, 30 to 40 kg of vegetables can be harvested. So it meets the nutritional requirement of a farm family. Besides, they can market it in excess. Mushroom is also can be integrated to the FSN model. Here, mushroom in many ways they are nutritious, and now the in urban areas it is taken as a substitute to the meat and egg. So more focus is to be given to this. Actually, this growing of mushroom requires some skill. So the farm families, particularly the women folk in the family, should be trained for mushroom production. So in national and local level, some it can be achieved through mushroom farming. So besides the researchers nowadays find that mushroom has this spent that after harvest of the edible mushrooms, the straw, that is rotten straw, that is called spent, it contains a number of hormones, growth hormones, plant growth hormones. So they can be used as a manure in the high value crops, vegetables, and fruits. So they, besides some other materials or micronutrients are also available, and it can also increase the nutritional security of a poor household or farm family. So nowadays, many medicine, pharmaceutical companies also, they insist on some species of mushroom production. So at a high price that can be marketed. So this should be more research is required on this aspect, and it can well be integrated to a FSN model, farming system for nutrition model. Next. This antibiotics, these animals, particularly for birds, the growers usually inject some antibiotics for to the birds, poultry birds, to increase their weight very fast. that is health hazardous to the consumers. So in that case, some antibiotics are found in the some species of this fungus mushroom, and that can also be dried and fed to the animals uh, for boosting their growth in a short time period, so that healthy meat can be achieved from the poultry farming as well. Fruit crops in dry areas or scanty rainfall areas, the tree-based farming system is recommended. So in integrated farming system models, fruit crops, perennial fruit crops can be also introduced in this case. So, but for some management practice is there required. For pruning is the silvicultural practice for the perennial fruit trees, and many fruit trees, custard apple, guava, mango, jackfruit, lychee, amla, sapota, tamarind, etc., can be integrated to the system. Up to 3-4 years, when the canopy spread is not there for the tree species, fruit tree species, so any crop, regular crops can be taken in this system. It depends upon the edaphic and climatic factors. The regular crops we can take, but after 3-5 years or after 5 years, the yield of the crops will decline, because the crop canopy, when spreads, it will give some shade to the underneath crops, and there will be competition for solar energy as well as the other resources like water and plant nutrients. So in that case, also the relative humidity will increase in ambient relative humidity will increase. That will lead to some multiplication of harmful insect pests and pathogens. So in that case, these crops can be arable crops or seasonal crops can change. So from the 5 to 8 years, so the crops which are tolerant to shade to some extent, that can be taken, like ginger, turmeric, curcuma, amla, mango, ginger, and then after 8 years we can take very well these other crops like pineapple. So it is the most remunerative practice within the tree species or fruit tree species perennial, with including this pineapple. So short duration fruit crops like papaya, banana, pineapple also can be taken on the pomegranate, lime, etc., on the pond dike as well. So these are some this tree-based farming systems. Any type of the productivity is not declined due to the tree crops up to 5 years. But after that, 5 to 10 or even up to 20% loss will be there. But it is compensated in long run. This from the timber or firewood or some other benefits from tree species. Uh, this matchbox industry and paper industry, they can utilize this uh, tree species. Besides, some protective benefits like it gives shade, microclimate amelioration, then the increase in soil fertility, carbon sequestration, organic carbon in the soil water holding capacity, microbial activity in the litter, that creates a environment that increases the microbial activity in the soil, and mulching. It also acts as a mulching on the soil surface. So the arable crops production will be more, and the requirement of the nutrients, plant nutrients, may be reduced. So cost of production for these crops also reduced. So it gives a clean environment. The contribution uh, through greenhouse gas emission by the agricultural practices can be compensated by this green and clean environment through this agroforestry practices into tree-based farming system. Next. So similarly, mushroom also can be cultivated with the this tree species. So tree species, fruit tree species like guava and mango. With this, we can grow the regular food crops. So it will give fruit to the farm family as well as the food that required for the nutrition of the family. This is a coconut-based or aquaforestry, you can say, farming system. So seasonal vegetables, short duration fruit crops, then fishery, rice, and coconut fruit crops. Next. So the key action in for successful integrated farming system, the mobilization of rural youth is important for marketing at local level, then farmers producers organization to produce, aggregate and market, promotion of entrepreneurs for aggregation, processing and value addition. Value addition is a farm families. It is nowadays focus is should be given to this value addition. The consumer's preference is being changed over the years. So depending upon that and the market demand and every produce should be market oriented and linked to the local market. Next. So Mahila Kisan Sashaktikarana Parijojana by the central government. So these IFS modules are mostly women friendly. This value addition, grading, and through value chain, we can move forward with the higher profitability as well as the clean environment, ecological sustainability can be achieved through this practice. So, in an integrated farming system modules, there are a number of low cost or zero cost interventions which can boost the productivity and more remunerative. The system will be more remunerative. The cost of production will be less. Mostly the recycling of the agricultural byproducts. So some of the examples are given. Earlier we are talking the azolla was meant for the biofertilizer for paddy production, but nowadays azolla is multifunctional. It can multiplication in 3 weeks. It multiplies 10 times. So a huge quantity of biomass is produced, which can be fed to the milk cows which and to the birds as well, and this is protein rich. So for birds about 30 to 40% the feed cost can be reduced through this azolla feeding to the birds. Besides, during the harvest season, the leaves of the coal crops they can be chopped and fed to the birds and animals. So other low-cost module interventions can also be introduced to the system. Next. The agricultural byproducts, this from pulses, the chaffs can be used as concentrate for the milk cows. Then wood biomass, which is consumed by the animals, also can be fed. So among all these modules, some modules are giving a return very quick, and some modules are also remunerative. So boundary plantation, it is very often it is ignored, but boundary plantation with pigeon pea, yam, custard apple, it meets the nutritional requirement of a farm family. Then kitchen and nutritional garden, fishery with short duration food crops on the dikes, vermicompost, goat and sheep, that's small ruminants, duckery, homestead vocation and value added products. These are the modules besides this nursery. So both vegetables and fruit crop nurseries, if other conditions satisfy, like the availability of the rootstock or the quality seed materials, and suitable land and climate conditions or parameters are favorable. So nursery, including nursery in an integrated farming system, is more profitable. Next. So coming to another two concepts, that is circular economy and green economy. Circular economy is the sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, recycling, composting, that without using or losing anything in a system, recycled. So that is circular economy. It is in contrast to the traditional linear economy model that is based on take, make, consume, throw away. But here nothing is wasted in this circular economy. So everything is consumed by a suitable mechanism, particularly the crop waste, animal waste as a valuable organic manure. So this circular economy model, it uses very less raw material. Then here few emissions are there because we are not using the or reduction in use of synthetic fertilizers and synthetic agrochemicals. So this production of synthetic fertilizers consume heavily the fossil fuel. So with this organic manures that can be saved. Also transportation also use the fossil fuel, that also can be reduced because these organic manures are produced in situ in the farm or within the farming system. So there is fewer emissions and less waste. Next. So circular economy, the emergent priorities, it is equitable, that means fairness, transparent, and resilient, climate resilient. So 7 pillars of the circular economy. This is health and well-being of both animals and human beings. Then value-added products. Then materials is less inputs as required. Energy saving, water productivity is more. Agro biodiversity is consumed, and as a whole society and culture is preserved. So this is circular economy models. So how this circular economy can be uh, uh, used or beneficial to the farming based enterprises? Resource utilization. So here recycling is a major objective or major factor here. So biodigestion and adopting composting, vermicomposting, these practices are resource utilization. So resource use efficiency is increased through this circular economy, and it also waste to value models. So valuable inputs is produced or we can get from these circular economy models. And soil and water conservation also there. Soil health is improved or maintained at least with because this indiscriminate use of synthetic fertilizers and biochemical agrochemicals is reduced. Next. So another concept, green economy in the integrated farming system. Here, reduce the environmental risks and ecological scarcities while achieving sustainable development. It focuses on three aspects: investments, employment, and skills. Major six sectors that green economy focus, that is renewable energy, green buildings, that means the materials used for its lifetime, it is less emissions, and it gives the better environmental benefits. Then clean transportation, water management, waste management, and land management. So these six major sectors are governed by this green economy. So how this green economy is can be exploited in sustainable agriculture and integrated farming systems. So organic and natural farming. So green economy focus on less emissions and less use of synthetic fertilizers and agrochemicals. That leads to organic and natural farming and regenerative agriculture. That soil is restored and soil producing capacity is maintained. Carbon sequestration is there through forestry or forest or tree crops integration to the system, and renewable energy. Here the most aspect focus is renewable energy, and fossil fuel use is as far as possible is reduced. So nowadays the lifestyle of the consumers are being changed, and the urbanites they always demand to know from where their food is coming. So they want to produce their food themselves, even in a small scale. So nowadays in urban areas, uh, rooftop gardening is a common practice. So shift it from or to health conscious consumers, even they are ready to pay more for the organically produced vegetables and fruits or food grains. So in integrated farming system approach, that concept should be integrated. So that is possible through this green economy concept and agri-tourism. So like any other tourism, agri-tourism people, the urbanites, they want to visit where their foods are being produced. They want to see themselves with other some merrymaking. This can also be taken up. So at government and private level, individual level, many agri-tourism spots are coming up. So this comes under the integrated farming system approach. Then urban farming and community supported agriculture. So if where land is scarcely available. So in that case, community-based land can be utilized, particularly for seasonal vegetable production, and some tree-based fruit crops can be developed or grown, so that fresh fruit and vegetables can be grown, and that can be shared among the community. The challenges and path forward, access to the technology and knowledge. So at this time of digitalization, the agricultural practices, including integrated farming systems, should be digitalized, and policy support. Government policy supports is usually uh, subsidies, and the promotion is given to the monocrops and the large farmers or the agrochemicals, synthetic fertilizers. But it is now time to promote the sustainable farming, organic farming, natural farming, regenerative farming, and the organic manures, then biofertilizers. This policy support the green technology should be available to the ultimate users or growers or the farm families. Then sustainable supply chain. This directly from the consumer to the directly from the producer to the consumer. It should be policies should be developed, and chain should be like that. And as far as possible, the involvement of middlemen should be reduced in the supply chain. Next. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your insightful lecture. The way you explained the topic and your depth of knowledge is really enlightening. Now the session is open for questions. If any of our participants ask sir any question regarding the lecture, any doubts, they can ask right now. The session is open for questions. Please.